When I last made my video on Minecraft servers, there were a couple things that I left out. Now, as many of my noble subscribers pointed out to me on both my Discord server and private messaging me, they pointed out that my argument was fairly one-sided. Of course, I was calling it a scam. So, what actually are the things I missed? What should I have taken into account? And what are the secret merits of a hosting service? What are the problems that I missed? And even more. So let's dive into it. Now, the very first thing that I encountered that was an issue was, first of all, I did not factor in that in some places in the world, the cost of electricity is so high that it costs almost like a subscription service a month to keep your Minecraft server alive. So, as a lot of people mentioned in my Discord server, in many places in Europe, like in Germany, there is a real issue with it being, as some people even said, that if you had a PC running at like 200 watts and maybe it uses up 720 kilowatts hours a month and it's running 24/7, and if the pricing is 0.28 euros per kilowatt hour in Germany, then you are paying 200 euros. Now, if you're just running a CPU and RAM with an SSD, you will use only around 20 watts, but it'll still be 20 euros a month, which I did not see and think about at all. Electricity is like half the price here, but still, that is a hidden cost that I didn't factor in. And so electricity might actually be a reason that Minecraft server hosts might be a good idea. Now, the second thing that I missed about Minecraft server hosting was actually that, well, if we look at it, I actually missed a lot of very good services. Of course, I was just talking about the main big Minecraft hosts. I was not talking about all the short and lovely ones that so many of my subscribers mentioned to me, because, and I think someone even said they found they found a service that would run for like a quarter of a dollar per month, and I'm like, what? Ridiculous. So it seems that this is an issue that is mostly confined to the big stuff. But keep in mind, even if you do go then for the small stuff, there is still there's some trade-offs. You're, let's say, trading off your UI, you're trading off maybe your help services. Of course, Shockbyte was a big company, they had support tickets and all that, and if you go for a small, really cheap thing, then yeah, no, it might not be so good. And believe it or not, in my Discord server, I had a couple of, well, they call themselves CEOs of companies. I'm not sure if they are, but we'll take their word for it, who claimed that I was severely misleading, or maybe blind, let's say, with actually the internals of a Minecraft server company. And they mentioned that inside a Minecraft server company, there are a huge amount of like internal debates or discussions or whatever it's called. Oh yeah, inside the internal of a company, there's insights that need to be known if you are to effectively critique Minecraft server. So that is a very, very fair criticism, and obviously I am not from the inside of a company. And so maybe there are some more merits to their price. However, I just also discovered even more ways that Minecraft servers are scummy as well. I was told by many of the people in my Discord server that the reason why my server was so laggy is because Shockbyte, the server host I was using, oversold my server. So that they had, how it basically worked is that they had one server and they divvied it up. I believe this is how it works. I'm not very proficient at this. They divvied it up among a bunch of different servers. However, obviously, to make it most efficient, Minecraft servers aren't always using all of that, let's say, RAM at one time. So if there's excess RAM, they might oversell your server so that when you start actually pressing it and maybe, let's say, exploring, like I did with a lot of people on, your server can get really, really laggy. And so that's what they believed was my problem. And that's really annoying because you are then paying for 1 gigabyte and that's a 1 gigabyte that you are not getting. So that is a very frustrating issue. Now, there's also something else that I forgot to mention. I'll leave him anonymous, but whatever. He said that he is a server host with experience of providing low-cost hosting services, and that he mentioned that the reason why the price changes between when I had my server hosting in Europe and when I had it in Australia was because of different taxation, regulation, and general operating expenses. But I actually call this into question because, as we established earlier, electricity in Europe is twice as expensive, or I'm not sure about the exact rate, but it's something like that. Twice as expensive as it is in Australia. So why did I then have to pay double or 1.5 times for my server? Was it because of the hassle of moving it? Was it because of maybe the ShockByte employee had to drag and drop it into the other folder? I don't know, but I think paying, especially a subscription service for a one-time work thing, is a bit too much, and I'm not too happy with that. But he did also try and make some clarifications about lag, saying that unless you looked at your optimization, like if you looked at your Minecraft server and it said that all of like the usage of things was fine, then the issue is with, as he said, poorly optimized or incorrectly written scripts, which I'm not too familiar with this world, but if that sounds like an interesting thing. So I asked a series of questions to some of the subscribers on my Discord, and some of them actually said that they were server hosts and CEOs of server hosts now. Whether or not I believe them is another thing, but it is still giving a very valuable insight into at least what the behind the scenes is of certain things. So a couple of the issues that I've gone into, they've sort of gone into, and it's that a lot of the bigger server hosts that came out when gaming first started and when Minecraft first started are the ones that really have the high prices. Now, I obviously was with ShockByte before. He says that their prices, judging by the ones that he probably has to pay, are outrageous. So that is, if what he's saying is true, then yes, that answers my question from last video. ShockByte's prices are outrageous. But he does also bring a valuable point about smaller and newer hosting services, especially ones that have just been created or just between friends or something like that. Because he mentions of summer hosting or holiday hosting where, let's say, kids will start picking up hosting and they'll try and sell it, but then once they get bored, and this is just a broader problem with hosting in general. Once people get bored or they're not so interested in it anymore, then they simply stop running them. And that can be a big issue if you are trying to have a longer lasting server. Now, for issues that he saw of hosting yourself, he mentions that a Linux system is a bit of it's a lot of technical know-how. You need good hardware, and if you're going to run the server 24/7, you need a big enough space to make enough backups for all your clients, or even if you're just for yourself, to protect your worlds. And then, of course, the electricity and internet access, which he takes a different approach by saying that it's not just about the price of them, but they're not the most reliable. And if there's power or internet cuts, then either your clients or just your server can have a lot of issues. It can create corruption in the files, and it could ruin your server potentially. And on top of that, DDoS protection is an issue, which he says you could buy a service that protects you, but then of course that is costing you even more money. Now, for hidden Minecraft, or hidden costs of hosting yourself, he of course mentions electricity. Keeping your server cool is a big issue, especially because you have to run it 24/7. And then interestingly, I asked, because I wanted to see other perspectives on this issue, what are the benefits with server hosting? And of course, you are saving a very high and expensive lump payment at the start to buy a PC. If you want to get a really good one, then it's still going to be rather expensive. And if you might just get bored in a while, then that is definitely not a good idea to go and spend that much money to start hosting yourself. And also, of course, the reason why Minecraft hosting sites are called services is because they take away, like, as he estimates, 90% of your workload. So that is very impressive. And game hosting works on a larger scale, which means they have multiple dedicated servers for running side services. Now, interestingly, I also asked, what costs do they face to justify their price? And this was the final question. And he says that not all hosts use justified prices. I think we established that already. And if a company usually exists for a longer time, he says they have increased prices over time. However, he does not know what each individual company is, and he doesn't know their costs. But once again, he said if he knows from his own company, he says that the prices are most likely outrageous. But it's not a fair comparison as the prices are different, and of course he probably doesn't have that many employees, all that. And so to finish off, advice that he says is to research what hosts are good and reliable. And he says that's the hard thing. You have to look around for deep and look at the reviews, track record, transparency. And he said that but only looking at reviews can give a misleading judgment, since the game world can be pretty toxic. And that's pretty true. So that's just an interesting perspective. Make sure to go check out GameStar Hosting, which is apparently the owner who messaged me this. So if he claims he has a better service, so I don't know, maybe use that for your research. But anyways, I do hope that this has sort of helped bring another perspective to the issue of Minecraft server hosting. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you want, join my Discord server, the link's below. And yeah, goodbye. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want. See ya.